Hi, sweetheart. Hi. Grandpa Birch here. Are you ready for another story time? Hey, I think I have one for you. It's Flat Stanley Goes Camping. Flat Stanley Goes Camping. All right, are you ready? Here we go. Flat Stanley Goes Camping. Oh, look at him carrying the firewood. Stanley Lambchop lived with his mother, his father, and his little brother Arthur. Stanley was 4 feet tall, about a foot wide, and half an inch thick. Oh, he is thin. He had been flat ever since a bulletin board fell on him. Oh, bulletin board. There were lots of good things about being flat. Stanley could put on sunscreen in one swipe. Stanley had the best back float at the pool. Look at him float. Stanley had the loudest belly flop, too. Kerflop. But sometimes it was hard being the only kid in town. Being the only flat kid in town. Flat, flat. I'm sick of being flat, said Stanley one morning. Flat is lame. Lame, said Mrs. Lambchop. Why, some of the best things in the world are flat. Like the newspaper, said Mr. Lambchop. And fried eggs and pancakes and bacon, said Arthur. I guess so, said Stanley. I guess so. After breakfast, Mr. Lambchop started loading up the car with tents and sleeping bags. What's going on? Asked Arthur. We're going camping, said Mrs. Lambchop. The family needs some fresh air. All right, called Arthur. Stanley barely smiled. I don't know about this. After a short drive, the Lambchops arrived at the Roaring River Campground. Stanley was helpful as usual. He helped carry firewood. Brother on one side and Dad on the other, and here we go. Stanley blocked the wind so his mother could start a fire. But Stanley just wasn't himself. He wouldn't even eat any s'mores. Too flat, he muttered. Too flat, he muttered. Too flat. Why don't you two go exploring? Suggested Mr. Lambchop. Good idea, said Miss Lambchop. Just don't get lost or fall off a cliff or touch any poison ivy. Have fun, dears. Do you have poison ivy near your place? Stanley and Arthur set out. Hey, animal tracks, said Arthur. Let's follow them. The boys followed the tracks along the river, through some trees, and up a steep hill with a cliff on the other side. Uh-oh. The tracks end here, said Arthur. He peered over the cliff. I wonder what kind of animal made them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Arthur, said Stanley. Arthur turned around. Arthur. Skunk, he whispered. Let's get out of here. The boys were trapped. The skunk was on one side of the cliff. The cliff was on the other side. The skunk was here, and the cliff was there. Then the skunk raised its tail. What do we do? Arthur wailed. Mom said to not fall off a cliff, said Stanley. She didn't say not to jump off. Oh boy, the skunk's ready to get them. Skunks are really stinky. They squirt out the tails. Suddenly, Stanley grabbed Arthur by both hands and jumped. Ah! Arthur screamed. Then Arthur opened his eyes. He wasn't falling. He was sailing. Above him, Stanley's body made the perfect parachute. The boys landed with a gentle plop. Oh, they landed. That was awesome, said Arthur. Thanks, said Stanley. Now where are we? Arthur and Stanley looked around. All they saw were trees. We're lost, said Arthur, and it's getting dark. Then Stanley spotted something. There's the river, he said. Our campground's on the river. The boys ran to the water's edge. About a mile downstream, there were 2 cozy Lambchop tents. Look at the tents about a mile away. What can we do? It'll be dark before we can walk that far, said Arthur. I know, said Stanley. Stanley got a running start and belly flopped into the river. Splash! Then he flipped over onto his back. Climb on! Woo! Cried Arthur. Always wanted to go rafting. Arthur and Stanley made it back to camp, drippy but safe. Let's keep it to ourselves, said Stanley. I can't believe we got lost and went off a cliff, Arthur said. At least we didn't touch poison ivy. There you are, said Mrs. Lambchop. Just in time for supper. Just in time. That night, Arthur whispered to Stanley from the sleeping bag. You know, if you weren't flat, you couldn't have saved us today. Stanley smiled. Maybe being flat isn't so lame, he said. And the next day, Stanley found out another good thing about being flat. He could put on the poison ivy cream in one swipe. Whoop. Just like the suntan lotion in one swipe. All right. What did you think of Flat Stanley Goes Camping? All right. Bye for now. And remember, Grandpa Birch thinks you're special.